there's a reason why he would be a better offensive player overall. I'm trying to imagine Giannis in transition knocking down 20-footers. I'm trying to imagine Giannis stopping, popping at the free throw line. That the court now becomes 200 feet long and 150 feet wide. And those assists, that 6 or 7 assists that he's averaging, that now goes to like 7 or 8.
Who would be the best player? Jokic with Hakeem's defense, Giannis with Dirk's shooting, Embiid with Kyrie's handles, or Anthony Davis with LeBron's passing / IQ?
Jokic
they changed it.
Jokic with Hakeem's defense is the best player to ever exist.
No, Giannis with Dirk's shooting?
Jokic with Hakeem's defense is the best player to ever exist.
No way. Absolutely
yes,
not.
He is. Yes, he is.
Okay. Real quick.
I'm gonna let everybody get their pick off, and then we'll get into everything. Just right.
Ron, the post might be altered slightly because the one that I saw, it didn't have Dirk, it had Steph. It said Giannis with Steph's shot, not Dirk's, and that's a dramatically different conversation.
Dirk makes more sense because they're big.
Yeah, not dramatically. Well, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie, Giannis shouldn't be doing behind the back putting from 40.
So Mars,
so Dirk is
so Mars, as you were saying, Mars. So Joker is a large one as a defender. He's fantastic. He's the best player ever. Why?
Because he's a top 5 offensive player ever and a top 2 defensive player ever. No one else has come close to that. That's the best player to ever exist.
100%. I can definitely agree with that. What is the biggest? So with that being said, what's the biggest flaw right now today with Giannis's game?
His free throw shooting and his shooting in general.
His shooting. So now what we're gonna do is we're gonna take Giannis and we're gonna give him Dirk's long ball and we're gonna give him Dirk's mid range. They have to change the rules because it's not fair.
He's still not better than Jokic.
They got to change the rules.
That's fine. They can change the rule. Yeah, exactly. Giannis with Dirk shooting is still not better offensively than Jokic.
Still not better because I've come off the stance,
because Jokic is still a better post player. He still has much better footwork. Around the rim, I'll give it to Giannis, and then shooting, yeah, sure, Giannis is better. But then the passing and playmaking gap is astronomical.
No, you give Giannis Dirk's jump shot that opens up everything else
1,000%.
So I'm looking at it this way. Okay, so for me to make my point, you're gonna have to let me disagree with that for a second. Because
go ahead.
Okay. I definitely think that Giannis with Dirk's jump shot is better offensively than Jokic. But as well as that, so I don't want to sound crazy. Because Giannis is a good defender. I don't think he's a hell of a defender. Like a lot of people think Giannis is a better defender than I do. But his defense.
Let's say he's better than Joker. Let's say he's better than Joker.
He ain't better than Hakeem.
But he wouldn't be better than Joker with Hakeem's defense.
He wouldn't be better than Elijah.
His defense isn't Hakeem's defense, but he's already above par defender. So you know what I'm saying. So his defense is already good enough. With that being said, I feel like his offense is better than Jokic because when you add the fact that when you build a wall on Giannis, you're not building it right up on it. But if I'm shooting like if he's shooting like Dirk, now I gotta stand on his toes. But he's gonna blow. He's unguardable. He's the most unguardable player to ever walk the face of the earth with Dirk's jump shot.
I agree, he's unguardable, but he still doesn't have the playmaking and passing factor that Jokic has. The best player would still be Jokic. And then if you want to say Giannis would be a better scorer, I can agree with that because I think he would. He'd probably be the best scorer of all time. But then defensively, even though, like, let's say, even if I wanted to concede offense to Giannis, the defensive gap is still very large because Hakeem clears Giannis as a defender. So that's even true. Then, if I want to say the offense is close, and I'll say, fine, for the sake of argument, it's Giannis. Giannis is a better offensive player because there's no game plan to stop someone who can shoot like Dirk and get to the rim like Giannis. Sure, he can be a slightly better offensive player. Defensively, it's still a sizable gap, and Jokic is still a 10 out of 10, the perfect player on both sides of the ball. That's the best player to ever exist.
I just want to be clear.
One thing to factor in too is, and I say this a lot when I compare Giannis and Jokic, is just the athleticism, the ability for Giannis to run the court and his verticality too.
Well, Jokic with Hakeem's defense, you have to have athleticism. Like I'm assuming that's part of the package. You can't have Hakeem's defense and not be able to jump.
But is it only on defense?
But you can't have Hakeem's defense and not be able to jump to block a shot like that.
Now, Mars, I get what you're saying.
I have to assume he can do what Hakeem did.
He's a better athlete.
He has to be that way.
Only on the defense.
Okay, but if Giannis can shoot
he doesn't need to move like Hakeem on offense. He's fine. He's fine as Jokic. But defensively, he has to have that lateral movement. He has to have that explosiveness. He has to have that second jump. He has to have all those things. Otherwise, he's not Hakeem on defense.
So if we're doing that,
I was talking about offense, running the floor and verticality.
I swear the graphic said Giannis with Steph shooting, not Dirk. I understand that's the comment.
We gotta read the super chat though.
Okay, all right.
I'm not going to super chat.
Even
Steph shooting is ridiculous.
Steph that'd be unfair.
That's insane. That's insane if you give Giannis Steph shooting. That's an unbendable like.
I don't even want Steph shooting. I'm cool with Steph shooting. I did have to come off I'm cool with Dirk shooting. I did have to come off the logic earlier this season, earlier last season, that Giannis, because I thought Giannis was a better offensive player than Joker. Now, so of course, until I started watching Joker more, and he
walked it back. He walked it back.
Like, wait a minute.
Okay. All right.
However, to put Dirk's post game, like Mars just talked about, well, he's a better post player. Well, there's a reason why Giannis would be a better post player, because he would be able to knock that shot down, that one-legged shot. There's a reason why he would be a better offensive player overall. I'm trying to imagine Giannis in transition knocking down 20-footers. I'm trying to imagine Giannis stopping, popping at the free throw line. That the court now becomes 200 feet long and 150 feet wide. And those assists, that 6 or 7 assists that he's averaging, that now goes to like 7 or 8, because Giannis, I'm not 7 or 8. I'm thinking like 8 or 9, because those passes that Giannis is throwing where he's now in traffic, the court's going to be so much more open now, simply because Giannis can knock down the mid-range and knock down the long ball. And that's going to bring defenses so much closer to him.
Yeah.
Drew Holiday, Middleton, all of these guys are going to get way more open looks, which would explain why Jamal Murray, which would explain why KCP, all of these guys get the open looks that they get because of what Joker can do on the perimeter. If Giannis had Dirk's jump shot, my God, they got to change the rules.
Hey, chill time. Imagine you have to close out on Giannis. Imagine you have to close out on Giannis everywhere he's on the court.
Big Ox, listen to me what I'm telling you.
You have to close out on Giannis.
This is what happens. Giannis, you can only shoot that mid-range to the middle of the second quarter and in the fourth quarter. That's it. You can't shoot it no more. And you only allow 3 long balls a game. That's it. You can't shoot any more than 3 long balls a game.
I don't know if Dirk is enough for me to lean Giannis. I don't know. I would probably say Jokic. If you said Curry, to me, it's a different conversation based on the level of bending.
I just want you to I want you to think about Giannis in transition. That's all. Yeah. I just want you to think about him right now, just in transition. And I want you to think about him in transition, just stopping and popping at the free throw line.
It's crazy.
He's not going all the way to the rim. No. He's stopping and popping at the free throw line. Now what I want you to do is I want you to take the ball out of his hands.
That's less beneficial, to be honest.
Right?
I'm going to live with that, though, to be honest with you.
I'd rather Giannis take a free for a jumper.
I would rather Giannis drive down the lane, pull up
now what I want you to do, Gifted.
Yeah, but it's the same principle to me.
I want you to take the ball out of Giannis's hands, right? I want you to take the ball out of Giannis's hands. The athlete that he is, I want you to get him back in transition. And now he's stopping at the long ball line and he's cracking threes. Right.
Okay, now from 3 moves.
Doug wasn't doing a lot of pop up from the 3 like
listen,
that.
What? Listen,
he wasn't doing a lot of that.
Well, you know, this
that is why I'm saying if it's Curry, it's a different combo.
He's like that. He wasn't. Not a
Dirk wasn't cracking the long ball.
Transition
pull up. How many pull-ups? How many
pull-ups you talking per game?
You just don't remember.
I ain't seen these transitions.
Listen. I don't think anyone is saying that he cannot take the pull-up. I'm talking about the frequency. My thing is, if you're telling me Giannis has Curry shooting, then the shooting tendencies in terms of pull-up, I'm way more moved because of how far back he's extending the floor. Dirk, his bread and butter was what? The mid-range shot. He can shoot the 3 for sure. I'm not saying he can't, but in terms of like confidently pulling up from 30 feet, that's more Curry than Dirk. Is that fair? Yeah, I think that's fair to say, right?
Curry definitely got a better long ball than Dirk.
Yes.
Giannis with Dirk shooting, I still think teams give him the three. And
if it's Curry, you can't do that.
I know you can't.
That's the difference.
Like Dirk was like a 40%, but the volume A wasn't very high, and B, you have to give something up. I think
something got to give up.
Teams would rather this new Giannis shoot 9 threes a game because you're giving him open threes, and he'll knock down 4 of them, than you press up on the 3-point line. He's getting all the way downhill. And
that's why the combo is different to me, because Jokic with the Kings defense, like Mars said, will easily trigger the offense because they're already a great transition team. If Jokic can play defense to that level and get the ball out in transition, there's basically no flaw in his game at all whatsoever, right? So teams will live with Giannis shooting the 3 ball because it's Dirk shooting. If you tell me that's Curry shooting, I have no answer for you. I have no
this shooting is just a lesser of 2 evils at that point. It's still, you can't afford to give up.
Only going with the mid-range and the long ball. You guys are only going with the mid-range and the 3-point line.
Free throw shoots a big part though.
In the mid-post on the block, because look, Mars, I remember you had brought up Giannis's or Jokic's ability in the post. So you don't think if Dirk can shoot or if Giannis can shoot fadeaways out the post, you don't think that makes him a much dangerous post scorer? You don't think
that is huge.
It makes him more dangerous.
That is absolutely huge. Yes.
Don't Dirk have a statue of that?
Yeah, it makes him more dangerous.
Imagine Giannis doing that.
No, this the thing. This the thing about it. It don't really matter. It don't really matter. Like when you think about it further, though, it doesn't really matter what you give Giannis. If you give Jokic Hakeem's defenses, he's going to be better, because no matter what you give Giannis on the offensive end of the floor, there's still just so much you can do on offense that's going to make it. Like Giannis is already dominant on the offensive end of the floor anyway. So it's like you give him a jump shot, maybe he averages a few more points. You know, it looks crazy. 40, it looks crazy still. He averages a couple more points, but giving Jokic Hakeem's defense it gives him so much more. Like his defense is so bad that, like, if you give him Hakeem's defense, it actually makes him a much better player. Giannis, it's like he's already dominant on offense. So it's like you give him some more offense. It's like,
that is why I said if you sub out Dirk shooting for Steph's, it's a whole different conversation.
Yeah, because you're giving him the greatest shoot to ever exist.
Any big you give Steph shooting.
I still don't think so. Gifted. I still don't think so. Well, more like just the more I think about it.
What if you gave him KD shooting?
Still, I still don't think it too much matters, because that's still one side of the court. That's still one side of the court that he's already dominant at. So it's like unless you're telling me that that's going to make him average 80, then he's still already
gained points.
Jokic gained so much more from having that much better defense that it makes his all around game so much better.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Ox.
I'm already the best player ever on both sides of the ball.
Listen. This might be a hot take, Ox, but I'm telling you, if you give Giannis Steph Curry level shooting, the gravity from the paint,
like that. Stop trying to cheat.
No. Mars. I'm talking to Ox because Ox just said he does not think Curry shooting would change the convo that much, and I'm saying I disagree, because if you give Giannis Steph shooting, the gravity from deep and the paint is insane. It's insane.
Does he get Steph's off ball movement?
That's a good question. Well,
no, just the ability to
then he's not getting
all he gets is the flick of the wrist. Just the flick of the wrist. That's it.
Oh, so once he gets the shot off,
that's it.
Steph Curry.
It's just
but my thing is, it's still Curry's shot.
Like Steph Curry. I mean,
I don't know what you want me to do with that. Like,
I mean, imagine Giannis with a 1 count pull up. Just
that's crazy.
Go 1 pow pull up. You know, like,
and a respectable. He's got a long ball that's above average, and he's got a stop and pop mid range.
Yeah,
he's already an elite defender. He's already an elite rebounder. Don't get me wrong, Mars. I think that Olajuwon clears him defensively.
Yeah,
but I think Olajuwon clears him defensively. The difference is does Joker clear Giannis offensively? I do think he's better.
Yes, he does.
Right now, he clears him.
Right now, he clears him offensively, yes.
Don't get me wrong, Mars. Don't get me wrong. I did have to go back and watch that. But if you add in that Dirk Nowitzki jump shot, you add that long ball in, does he still clear him offensively?
No, I don't think he clears him. I think it's a conversation. But I think the conversation is close enough to where Jokic being the much better defender at this point, he's still the best player ever. It's the player choice way. Them boys don't get it started. The player choice way.